In this video, we're going to discuss how you can build applications that work with geographic data. So the use case here would be that you need to capture the location of the mobile device at the time the user entered a record or edited a record. So in order to do that, we need a database that supports geography fields. So here's a MySQL database, and you can see that I've got a very simple table here that's got a first name and a last name field. Then it also has a latitude field and a longitude field, and then it has a location field, which is a special geography type field, which is used when you want to do geography searches. For example, find all records that are within 10 miles of my current location. So this is the table that we're going to build our little UX component on top of, and you can see here we've built a UX component that has a list control and a detail view. Now let's go back and look at how we've configured this detail view. So let's open up the list control properties here, and we'll go to the detail view, and then we'll go to table properties. And you can see that in table properties we've turned on this option here that says store current location information. So by default this property is set to no, in which case all those fields there are hidden. But when you change it to yes, what this means is that when the user saves data locally in the list, so in other words they're editing disconnected data, we're going to try to capture from the GPS on the device the current location. So we've said we'd like to capture the current location, and we'd like to put the latitude in the field in the record called lat. We'd like to put the longitude in the field in the record called LNG, and then we'd like to also update a location field. So the location field was the field that we created, the geometry field, and this field is going to be updated so that it contains the special location object so we can do geography searches. And then we can specify under what conditions the latitude and longitude should be captured. So we can capture them only when you insert a new record, or when you insert a record and also update a record. So you might want to basically in certain cases only capture the location information when the user enters a new record, but if they subsequently edit that record, you might not need that information. So in other words, what you want to do is capture the location at the time the record was created, not at the time the record was subsequently edited. So now that we've configured our list, let's go ahead and run it. And I'm going to run it in Firefox because Firefox supports returning the location. So now I'm going to go here and type in some value. So I'll go here and type in, say, Harry Smith, and then I'm going to go ahead now and save the record. So you can see now that the browser now is asking for permission to return the latitude and longitude. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say always share location. So I'm going to go there and do that now, and then hit the save button. So now you can see we've got a new record. It's indicated by the blue icon over there, but we don't have latitude and longitude filled in because we haven't yet actually saved the data. Now if I were to go ahead and hit the synchronize button, we'll see now that on the server, basically, when we hit the synchronize button, that the latitude and longitude are now filled in, and although you can't see it, the location field has been properly encoded. So what we've shown in this video is how the current location of the mobile device at the time a record was entered or edited can be captured. Thanks very much for watching. So this video is an addendum to the previous video where we discussed capturing location information when the user makes an edit to some data while they're disconnected. And what we're going to do in this video is show the actual data that's stored in the list control, because it's useful in understanding what's going on behind the scenes. So in order to do that, what I've done is I've made some changes to this component. And you'll see here that I've gone and I've added a button over here that says show debugging information. So the way that I added this button was I went over to defined controls, and then you can see we have here a defined control called list detail view buttons, and I chose my list, and then I chose this button here which says show data in the list, used for debugging only. And if I go look at the code, you can see that we're basically showing debug list data. So this is going to show me the data that's in the list, but then I also need to specify where to show the data. So I added a placeholder over there underneath the global errors placeholder, and I went back to the list and I configured the list to display debugging information using placeholder number 2. So now you can see that when I go ahead now and run this component, so let's go here and just type in, say, Molly Jones, and then hit the save button. You can see now basically the browser is getting the location information. Now that the browser has the location information, the debug data here is showing me what information is actually stored in the lists in memory data. So you can see that what we have in the list right now is the first name and the last name field that I entered over here, and then the Latin long field had not yet been entered into the database, so those values are blank. But you can see here that we've captured the current location of the device in these special system fields, and when we submit the data, this value here will be written into the latitude field there. This value here will be written into the longitude field, and then the location field will be geocoded. So behind the scenes you can see that each time we basically enter a new record and then save it locally, we're capturing the current location of the device in these two location fields, which will be written into the physical fields in the database at the time the user synchronizes. Thanks very much for watching.